If you're a musician who wants to go on tour, watch this video because you could learn a thing or two from me, so that way you don't have to learn the hard way. Hey everyone, my name is Sterlyn. I'm a professional bassist, and today we're going to talk about 5 things I wish I knew before going on my first tour. So quick backstory. I'm 24 years old. I grew up in Brockton, Massachusetts. I went to Howard University where I studied music theory and composition. My minor was actually in saxophone, but at the end of my freshman year, I picked up bass. So after graduation, I decided to do music full-time, and I started gigging around Boston and New England for about a year and a half before I got the offer to go on the road with a Broadway musical called Six. And so for the past 13 months, that's what I've been doing, touring around the US, playing bass 8 shows a week. So you can imagine how intense that is and how much I've learned throughout. So the first thing I wish I knew is that my self-care routine was going to change drastically, and I wasn't going to know how until I got on the road. Before this, I had never gone on tour, so I didn't know what it would feel like on a day-to-day basis, never mind a year. I wish I knew to at least prepare or have goals for what I was going to do for my self-care, such as exercise. I knew that I wasn't going to eat junk on the road for a year straight. I knew that sleep would be important, but I didn't realize that if I didn't move my body in a healthy way at least a few times a week, my energy levels would be non-existent. As far as food, I knew that I wasn't going to eat junk, but I didn't know that it would be a challenge to eat fulfilling and satisfying foods throughout the US. I'm Haitian American, and I didn't grow up on hot dogs, hamburgers, and mashed potatoes. I grew up on rice, chicken, those type of things. So when we were in places like the Midwest, where all that was available was fried chicken steak and burgers, I was struggling. I was hungry. So it was really important that I found food that I could really enjoy, so that way I could have energy and be able to sustain myself. Now, there were some really good spots in the Midwest. Des Moines, Iowa, for example, smacking food. For no reason. I was not expecting that. None of us were expecting to enjoy the food in Des Moines, Iowa, but boy, was it good. Shout out to Fong's Pizza. I had some amazing pho in Oklahoma City. So there are definitely exceptions, but in general, your girl was struggling in the Midwest. I was new Americaned out. Weightlifting was really cool for me, and I knew that 8 shows a week was going to be a lot on my shoulder, but boy, I was not ready for the amount of pain and soreness I would have on a daily basis. Weightlifting really transformed my entire experience. The base weighs around 9-10 pounds or something like that. Weightlifting really helped to build my upper body strength, so that way I could manage carrying the base every single night on my feet. Now lately I've been slacking. Spiritual and mental care is a thing too. Staying connected to your faith, as well as staying in touch with family and friends back home. So for me, I'm Christian, and just being diligent about praying, reading the word, staying connected with my church homes virtually via services and tithing. All of that is a great way to stay in touch with the people that you do know, as well as staying grounded spiritually. Because I believe God gave me this opportunity to be on tour right now, and so I always want to give thanks to that. And I also want him to lead me while I'm on this tour, even after my tour. So your spiritual and mental health is just as important as the physical. The second thing I wish I knew before going on tour was that I should journal. I'm kind of doing video journals now at this point with vlogging, but I kind of wish I wrote it all down. The people I met, the places I went to, I really wish I wrote those things down, so that way years from now I could read all about it in detail. I'm all about archiving and remembering moments, and so had I journaled from the beginning, I think that would have been a really beautiful thing to look at in the future. The third thing I wish I knew before going on tour, and this is minor but actually very important, is that I should have packed lighter and smarter. Meaning, I didn't think about colors. I packed a decent amount of clothes. I've actually gone home a few times in between tours, so I was able to downsize a lot. But I brought lights and darks, which meant that now I have to do separate loads of laundry while on tour. And not only is that more time consuming, it's also more expensive paying for hotel laundry. So I wish I knew to bring the same color scheme. That way I could do laundry in one load. I wish I knew decided to avoid bringing delicates or anything that needs to be air dried because that takes a lot of time. We don't have enough space to hang up a bunch of clothes. So I've run into the problem of doing my laundry the night before we leave, and I have less than 12 hours to dry them. The math wasn't mathing. So if I could repack for tour, I would have brought the same color scheme so that way I wouldn't have to do multiple loads of laundry. I wouldn't have to separate lights from darks from whites, and I wouldn't have brought delicates either. So that way everything can go in the dryer. I wanted to be cute and bring my nice pieces, but who's washing and maintaining these pieces over tour? I'm not trying to do that. So I wish I knew to just bring simple clothing so that way washing and drying could be easy. The fourth thing I wish I knew before going on tour was that making friends is a priority and it can make the experience a lot more enjoyable. There are some people on the road that are introverts and extroverts and even ambiverts. There are those that like to go out and hang every night or as much as they can, and there are those on tour who you never see out. I do go out, but a lot of times by myself, so I wish I made it more of a priority to get to know people on the tour because cliques do form, and not to say that I wish I wasn't a clique. If that's something that matters to you, you might find yourself isolated if you don't take the time to get to know people and find your folks on the tour. I wish I did take advantage of creating those bonds early while they were all being formed, because now the groups have kind of already settled and loneliness is real. Having connections and genuine bonds with people on tour can really help your mental health. You gotta support each other, and you're going to need each other in times of loneliness, fatigue, exhaustion, in times of fun, when you want to hang, and all the in-between. So it's really a nothing to lose situation. I say go on tour, make amazing memories, and you might find gems. You might find a best friend, you might find a lover, you don't know. So be open to socializing, be open to hanging, especially if you're an introvert. The fifth thing, okay, it's an ambulance outside. Wee 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 wee. I'm gonna just wait for it to pass. The fifth and last thing I wish I knew before going on tour was that my musical soul, how do I even say it? I wish I knew the impact that being away on the road playing the same show 8 times a week for 13 months and counting, I wish I knew the toll that would take on me. The impact that it has on my musical spirit is immense. Put it that way. I love the show. It's musical theater. I'm not a musical theater musician per se. Playing this type of music where it's just playing a book, you're playing it verbatim, note for note. You don't have any input, any flexibility or freedom to add your own flair. You're really just responsible for playing the part accurately. That was a big adjustment for me. I knew what I was getting myself into, but I didn't realize what a year of doing that would do to me. Since this show was such a controlled environment, it doesn't require certain skills that I've kind of now lost, such as my ability to create, respond, and vibe on the spot. Church musicians, jazz musicians, you know what it's like when you're on stage creating in real time, bouncing ideas and emotions off of the other players on stage. That is an ability and a skill that is not required in theater, in my opinion. I make effort to go to jam sessions and sit in as a way to preserve that skill, but it's definitely gotten rusty nonetheless. My musical soul has really been stifled by playing musical theater nonstop for a year and only playing musical theater. I have a lot of recovering to do once I get off tour to get back into shape. Even though I'm losing skills and other things, playing this show and doing this type of work requires a great deal of discipline and its own set of skills. So I'm grateful for learning the discipline it takes to play the same thing and to stay in that pocket. The good side to playing the same thing every single day is that you're not responsible for the music. You're not responsible for creating, for keeping things fresh and new. No, you're just responsible for playing that part cleanly and accurately and going about your business. No one needs you to play subs or reharmonize. You just play the part and the check is cleared. Because honestly, it is tiring playing the show over and over, and I don't want to do the most when I don't really feel like it. So knowing that I can just come in, do my job and go is kind of dope. So I wish I knew that it was going to have this impact on me, but now it just means that going into my next tour, I know how to prep, I know how to practice, I know what's expected of me, and I can go about it feeling better while maintaining happiness for my musical spirit. So yeah, those are just 5 of the things I wish I knew. What are your thoughts about this? If you haven't gone on your first tour, was this helpful or eye-opening? Let's have a conversation in the comments. And if you're about to go on your first tour, let me know what you thought. Are you gonna bring the same colors and not play yourself like me? Let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share with another person if you thought this was cool and insightful. I love you guys so much. You all are so beautiful, so talented, and just know that anything you want in this world is yours. God can give you all the desires of your heart. If you're faithful, you work hard, remain humble, you can have it all. So just keep pushing, keep being beautiful, keep being kind, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.